the Swedish and Swiss diet. That's the topic for today, in today's video. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I find out that it was really interesting that if you can figure out your ancestry or the origins of your last name, you can find out, kind of a little bit about your history and what your ancestors ate, and kind of make, like, I wouldn't say more or less 100% conclusion of what you should eat, but it'll give you a pretty good idea of foods that supported, your ancestors and your family line for thousands of years. So, when I found my last name, I actually come of ancient Norman origin, believe it or not, and I have Danish, English, Scottish, and Swedish in me. So now that I've found that out, and you can find this information out yourself by going to the website House of Names, and you can go to the description box down below. There'll be a link there, and all you do is you type in your last name and it should bring it up, and that's how you can find out where your origins are. Now, it's interesting to note that Sweden is number 9 when it comes to life expectancy, whereas the United States falls down at 38, which is really bad. Japan has the highest life expectancy in the world, which they come at number 1, and Switzerland comes in at 3. So first I want to talk about Sweden, okay? Sweden's life expectancy for just average is 80.9 years. For men it's 78.7, and for women it's 83. So I mean, they live pretty long compared to the United States, where the average life expectancy is only 78. So basically you got a 2-year difference between Sweden and the United States, and you have a 4-year difference between the United States and Switzerland, which is a pretty big difference. Okay, so we're going to talk here now about the Swedish diet. Due to Sweden's large north-south expanse, there has always been regional differences in Swedish cuisine. Historically, in the far north, meat such as reindeer and other semi-game dishes were eaten, some of which have their roots in the Sami culture. Now, the Sami are these indigenous people in the Arctic, far northern parts of Finland, Norway, Sweden, in the Kopa Peninsula of, I forget where that is, but it's over in Scandinavia, in those countries. So, it says, while fresh vegetables have played a larger role in the South, many traditional dishes employ simple contrasting flavors, such as the traditional dish of hearty meatballs and gravy with tart, pungent lingonberry, which is slightly similar in taste to cranberry sauce. And Swedes have traditionally been very open to foreign influences, ranging from French cuisine during the 17th and 18th century to the sushi and cafe latte of today. On the fast food side, pizza and hot dogs have been a ubiquitous part of Swedish culture since the 1960s. 20 years later, the same could be said about the growing popularity of the kebab and falafel, as many small restaurants specialize in such dishes. So, we've learned then so far that one of the meats that they like to eat in the far north is reindeer. Swedish cuisine could be described as centered around cultured dairy products, and now we know the benefits of culturing dairy products, especially from raw dairy. Crisp and soft, often sugared breads, berries, and stone fruits, beef, pork, sweetened seafood, and fish. Potatoes are often served as a side dish, often boiled. Swedish cuisine has a huge variety of breads of different shapes and sizes, made of rye, wheat, oat, white, dark, sourdough, whole grain, soft flatbreads, and crisp breads. There are many sweetened bread types, and some use spices. Many meat dishes, and especially meatballs, are served with lingonberry jam. Fruit soups with high viscosity, like rosehip soup and blueberry soup, served hot or cold, are typical of Swedish cuisine. Butter and margarine are the primary fat sources, although olive oil is becoming more popular. Sweden's pastry tradition features a variety of yeast buns, cookies, biscuits, and cakes. Many of them in a sugary style with a pastry are enormously popular in Sweden. So as we can see, Sweden has a higher life expectancy than the United States, is far healthier, has less obesity than the United States, and they're eating beef, pork, cultured dairy products, and eating all kinds of these different varieties of breads and potatoes. Where over here in the United States we're saying carbohydrates make you fat, carbohydrates are bad for you, you know. And I'm not saying that the Swedish are perfectly healthy or anything, but if you look into this, you'll see that on a whole, with Sweden coming in at 9 and the United States coming in at 38, Sweden's far healthier than we are in the United States. And they're eating a lot more of these whole traditional foods. So that's something to take into consideration. Now I just want to talk about Switzerland here for a second, because, see, Switzerland is number 3 when it comes to overall life expectancy in the world. Out of all the countries, Switzerland comes in at number 3. And, you know, Japan comes in at number 1, which would be the Okinawas. But, you know, listen to what I have to say here about the Swiss. The cuisine of Switzerland is multifaceted. While some dishes such as fondue, raclette, or rösti are omnipresent through the country, each region developed its own gastronomy according to the differences of climate and language. Traditional Swiss cuisine uses ingredients similar to those in the other European countries, as well as unique dairy products and cheeses. Chocolate has been made in Switzerland since the 18th century, but it gained its reputation at the end of the 19th century, with the invention of modern techniques such as conching and tempering, which enabled its production on a high-quality level. Also a breakthrough was the invention of milk chocolate in 1875 by Daniel Peter. The Swiss are the world's largest consumers of chocolate. Now think about this for a second. The Swiss are the largest consumers of chocolate in the world. And there's been a lot of studies, and even David Wolf himself has said that chocolate is attributed to longevity. Is it possible that the world's largest consumers of chocolate are getting longevity benefits from it? It seems very tempting to suggest that, especially when we know that the longest lived woman, Jean Calment from France, ate 2 pounds of chocolate supposedly a week, and she lived to be 123. So you got a lot of these other people around, you know, in the raw food movement claiming that chocolate is bad for you. Chocolate's a neurotoxin, anti-chocolate this, anti-chocolate that. Yet, the third highest ranked longest longevity in the world is the Swiss people, and they're the largest consumers of chocolate. Surely now, if chocolate was so poisonous, these people wouldn't be as healthy as they are, but they are. So, you know, that speaks volumes. It really does. And here's something else interesting. The Swiss people are 46.1% Roman Catholic, 40% Protestant, and 5% have other religious beliefs, while 8.9% have no religion. Ethnically, the Swiss people are about 65% German, 18% French, 10% Italian, 1% Roman, and 6% other ethnicity. Switzerland, like Germany, has a large middle class. Most of the population is educated, and the country has at least 99% literacy rate. But here is a general guideline of the Switzerland diet. Okay, Switzerland doesn't have a great tradition of foods. They borrow the best of the German and French cuisine. Fresh fish from the numerous lakes frequently crop up on menus, especially perch and trout. Okay, so they're large consumers of fresh fish. And also, similar to Germany, the Swiss tend to have a diet that is spicier and even sweeter than the diet of the British. They eat considerable amounts of breads, cakes, and other sweets, potatoes, and meats. Sausage is also popular. The people of Switzerland are known for being especially fond of cheese and chocolate. Fermented foods such as sauerkraut and sour cream may help the body handle this higher fat, low fiber diet. Fresh fruits are less available in the colder climate. Vegetables such as cabbage, cauliflower, and potatoes are used the most. Beer consumption is also high in Switzerland. So, you know, you have the third highest life expectancy in the world, which is the Swiss. And here they're eating, you know, lots of meat, sausage, and lots of carbohydrate-rich foods, such as breads, lots of chocolate. I mean, this is flying in the face of all of the dietary advice that we're being fed here in the United States. And are we any healthier for it? Absolutely not. We're a lot sicker and fatter, and we have more diseases, and we're dying younger. So maybe we should learn something from the Swiss and the Sweden people. And of course, I am a little bit Swedish, Danish, you know, and some Swiss. So, you know, maybe it's no wonder then why my body seems to do well on some of these types of foods here I was describing. Now, I'm not going to go say, you know, go eat a bunch of, you know, pastries and all that stuff. But clearly, if you're eating traditional whole breads, whole grain breads, meats, lots of fish. It just seems to be a good dietary staple in a lot of longest lived people around the world. And even the Okinawans, their favorite meat, even though they don't eat it a lot, is pig. They'll eat a whole pig and use lard on special holidays. Now you might think that's not a lot, but I mean it is significant that they do consume it. That's the thing. A lot of people will try to say, well, these cultures, these people, they don't eat a lot of meat. And then they try to jump to the conclusion and say, we should just be 100% plant-based, 100% vegan. But that's jumping to a big conclusion, because even if that small amount of meat that they were eating perhaps is attributing to more of their longevity, which I believe that it is, and it's giving them nutrients that they need. Because throughout their thousands of years, they've known to include some of these foods into their diet, and I don't think it's just by accident. I think it's by experience. So, I think we can learn a lot from the Swedes and the Swiss. So now I think I'm going to go enjoy me some nice chocolate. See you guys later. Have a great day. Bye.